guys, and welcome back to another hot lap video here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Matt Emery. We're here for week 9 at the Hockenheimring for the Porsche Cup iRacing series. Let's get into the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Hockenheim circuit for win. Obviously the lap starts along the start-finish straight, heading down towards turn 1. Now you want to make sure you jink slightly left just before you turn in. You can see the road actually opens up slightly to the left. You can see the white line there. So you want to make sure your left-hand tyres are on this curb as far as possible before you turn in. Then you're looking to start slamming the brakes on just after you pass the 100-meter board on the left-hand side. And then start thinking about turning in as well, just at the 50-meter board here, because he was just starting to turn in now. So 100 meter is your braking point, and the 50 meter board on the left is your turn in point. And you're aiming to get your front right just on the inside of the curb, so just in line. You can see we're aiming just in the inside bit of the curb, and then all the way out on the exit as well. This is about the limit of the track limits here. So you can use all of this curb. The white line isn't really the limit on this circuit. I know it can vary a bit track to track, but we're pretty much completely off the circuit, and it's absolutely fine as long as we've got a wheel on this curb. Back onto the track then as we head towards turn 2. And again, just braking just after the 150-meter board for turn 2. Slamming the brakes on, make sure we're not locking up. Quite easy to lock up into this one as it's quite a heavy braking zone. Just about 80% peak pressure, or slightly less than that, sorry. Second gear, and then just getting it nicely rotated on the apex. Again, turning point is just about the 50-meter board on the left-hand side. Make sure we get a good exit as well. Actually really easy to overshoot this one and go wide, and that will just compromise your exit all the way down the next straight as well. So really important you get the apex of this one. Second gear, just to help the traction as well. Full throttle. Don't really want to bother opening up this one too much, as you're just going to spend too much time getting it back across. So as long as you're back on full throttle as quickly as you can, should be absolutely fine. And then all over this curb, you see all over the AstroTurf on the inside, and absolutely flat through there. As we then head towards the long straight, down towards the hairpin. Want to make sure we're all over this left-hand side on the curb, just to shorten the line as much as we can. So follow that all the way around, and then we head towards the hairpin. Just braking just before this 150-meter board on the left-hand side. Really heavy braking zone, about 80%, just to make sure we don't lock up the fronts too much. If you are struggling with front lock-in, then obviously just reduce the brake bias. Just go backwards, and it should help with front locking. And then turning in quite late here, down to first gear. Get it nicely rotated on the apex. There's a couple of lines you can take here. You can take a wider line to get a better exit, or you can take a nice sort of rounded line as we've done here, all the way around the apex. Or you could go a bit deeper into the corner and veer off a bit more. So there's a few different lines you can try here. I think this is probably the more conventional and probably the most consistent line you can take. Just nicely round it off in a sort of U shape, and then you get a nice exit and a nice decent minimum speed as well. You can use this curb as well on the exit. So this yellow sausage curb we have here, that's no problem at all to use, especially in this car. Not a problem with the traction at all. Then up to second gear, full throttle as we head towards the next couple of corners, completely flat around this next right-hander. And then back over to the right-hand side as quickly as we can. And then we start braking just at the start of this curb on the right-hand side here. No 100-meter boards, but yeah, this is quite a good reference to you. So just the start of this curb on the right. And then get it turning nice and late from the curb here. And then just avoiding the sausage curb. It does actually unsettle the car slightly. So you don't want to completely catapult yourself over it. You can clip it slightly if we've done here, just the edge of you're aiming for about there. But don't want to do too much more than that, as it will just compromise your exit quite heavily. Then on full throttle, not widening the track here, as it's just not really necessary in this car. You put all the power down quite shallow, in quite a shallow way, and using quite a shallow line. Completely flat to the floor. Using this curb as well, just to open up the right hander as much as we can. And then down into this little bit of AstroTurf you can use on the inside here. You can go a bit further than this, but it does get a bit risky. It can unsettle the car, but you just want to get it within the curbs. Just make sure your front right tyre is sort of in this gap here, and it actually hooks around quite nicely. A bit of undulation as we go over the curb and come back onto the circuit. And again, no problem at all to use this sausage curb on the exit. And then we head into the technical stadium section. Very difficult to just spot your line for this corner, as it's kind of behind a wall, the curb. But obviously a bit of practice and you'll learn the reference points, no problem at all. You're turning in, there's not really too much reference you can use. It's just as long as you're along this wall and this white line, just to make sure you're as wide as possible to carry the speed. That's absolutely fine. Down to fourth gear, just carrying that minimum speed all the way over this curb as well. We're basically touching the grass on the inside here. And then full throttle all over this exit curb as well. The limit here is really just the edge of the gravel. Just make sure you're maximizing that as much as you can. Again, the white line is completely disregarded here. So it's really the edge of the gravel you're looking at. Just make sure you don't touch the gravel, as you will pick up an off track. Back over to the right-hand side, and then braking just before this curb on the right-hand side, slightly before. And then into this hairpin, down to second gear. Again, turning in slightly early for this one. Just as you can see around the corner, you see there's a bit of camber here you can use quite nicely to your advantage. If you go slightly wide here, you'll really feel the car understeer wide. So you want to turn in slightly earlier than you have been for the other corners, getting this nice bit of camber, and the car just really nicely follows the white line round. Again, not using the curb, just to make sure we just carry the minimum speed round the corner, rather than touching the curb and unsettling the car. Back on full throttle then, as early as we can, using the exit curb slightly, and then completely cut across this section of the track, just to make sure we straight line this section as much as we can into the penultimate corner. So all over here on the edge of the grass. And then the final couple of corners, down to third gear, not going in too wide, just so we don't unsettle the car on this curb. Down to third gear and just carrying third gear all the way around this penultimate corner, using the curb as well on the apex. You don't want to go too far over the curb. You can see there's a nasty bit of raised curb next to the grass, which will just unsettle the car. So this is about the perfect amount you want to use. Keeping it in third gear, not using the sausage curb on the exit, as it just doesn't settle the rear as well. So just making sure we're using just the blue and white curb. And then keeping it in third gear. And then very important, again, similar to the last couple of corners, just getting your right hand wheel hooked over this curb all the way to the grass, just to make sure it hooks round, and we make sure we get hooked around nice and carry that minimum speed round. And that pretty much completes a lap of the Hockenheim circuit, using all of the curb again on the exit, and then just a run to the line. So that was the hot lap guide then for the Hockenheim circuit for week 9 of the Porsche Cup car. Hope that was useful for you guys. As always, leave your comments down below. Check out coachdaveacademy.com. All your latest data packs can be found there. And any issues or feedback, let us know in the Discord. But yeah, my name's been Matt Emery. I will speak to you or see you next week for week 10. Take care, guys.